Caulfield with the Cushing Chamber of Commerce, and we are joined today with Justin Hornback, and he is running for the Corporation Commission seat. Now, of course, we know that June 18th is a primary election, and do you want to kind of explain that a little bit, Justin?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're the one in it, so.
So the Corporation Commission is set up with 3 commissioners. We vote on a seat every 2 years. They are rotating 6-year terms. So this year, Bob Anthony, who's been there for 35 years, the term limits went into effect for 12 years. So he is being termed out finally. That went into effect less than 6 years ago. So that's why he got this final term in. It is an open seat. Kim David was elected 2 years ago, and then Todd Hyatt was reelected 2 years before that. So they remain commissioners.
And for kind of the newer voters, kind of explain, I know this is kind of off of the questions that we asked, but you are the first of these interviews, and I'll be posting this later today on our social media. So for younger voters, what exactly, like June 18th is it's kind of different. It's called a primary election, but it's kind of a runoff, isn't it?
Well, yeah, there are 3 Republicans running for this position. So it's myself, Brian Bingman, and Russell Wright, who all are running for the Republican ticket. So on June 18th, we're asking people to show up to make a decision who will represent the Republican Party. There is a Democrat and a Libertarian, which whoever goes on to November will be running against those 2. Really, the Corporation Commission is kind of a known position in Oklahoma. A lot of people aren't aware exactly what goes on there because they don't deal directly with the Corporation Commission, yet almost everyone's daily life is affected by the decision made at the Corporation Commission. It began in 1907 when we became a state. Legislation set aside these regulators to regulate rail rates and then also the oil and gas industry. Now that's expanded to cover a lot of public services in rates such as tow truck rates, cotton gin rates, telecommunication, transportation, pipeline. But oil and gas and rail rates seem to be the big items that are regulated by the commission. That power is determined by the legislature, but the commissioners do work with lawmakers here in Oklahoma and also our lawmakers in Washington, D.C. to make sure that, oil and gas is a top priority because it matters to people in Oklahoma. And, we appreciate our AG right now is looking at the 2022 Energy Discrimination Act and trying to get that pushed where banks that choose to divest from oil and gas really don't have any business doing business here in Oklahoma because it's such a big industry. So we appreciate him for that. And then also looking into the winter securitization rates that all ratepayers are paying. And so that seems to be one of the hot topics in front of the Corporation Commission over the past couple of years since 21.
Yeah, and so what made you want to run for the Corporation Commission seat?
Well, I appreciate you asking me that. I'm not a politician. I'm a pipeline worker by trade. I've worked with regulatory bodies throughout the U.S. pushing for pipeline permitting on infrastructure permits, trying to expedite that process. We've worked with the lawmakers and actually got that in front of the Trump administration. His first week in office, one of the key issues was approving the Keystone XL, which was something we had been pushing for 10 years. Also expediting the permitting process, and then also approving American-made steel being used on American pipeline projects, which was great. Now, unfortunately, the Keystone XL was something that was held up in the court system for another 4 years, and Biden did end up denying permits. It kind of shows the federal overreach that can happen on pipeline projects. Even though pipeline is a state-by-state issue and all the states did permit that, there are some aspects that are under federal jurisdiction, but the fact that it's a political game that one party says it's good to go and the permits are there, and then 4 years later, a party comes in and says those permits are no longer valid, shows that it's not getting a fair look And that's unfortunate for a lot of these projects because it's private money coming into the United States. It's tax dollars being pushed into these communities. It's construction jobs, up to billions of dollars being spent, and then construction workers coming and filling roadside diners and hotel rooms and pumping money into these communities that really could use the boost.
Absolutely. So what do you feel that you could bring to the table if you are elected?
I apologize. You did ask that, and I kind of
No, it's okay.
I scratched the surface, but no. And being in front of these regulatory bodies, I've seen the way the process works well, and I've seen also the way that it's being held up by a lot of these anti-energy groups, and it's really not working. That we could do a lot better. Now here in Oklahoma, I'm not saying the process is broken. I just see a lot of ways that we could improve it. My first goal would be to bring more transparency to the Corporation Commission. A lot of people I've talked to, and myself included, when dealing with the Corporation Commission, find a lack of transparency and just basic information that should be public because the Corporation Commission does work in the public interest. Also opening up communications. When people call, they get frustrated because they're getting transferred to 2, 3, 4 different people, leaving voicemail messages, realizing weeks later they're nowhere farther than they were to begin with. So ensuring that direct line of communication, getting those people in front of the people they need to talk to, that's a key issue. So what I'm doing in my campaign is I'm stepping it up a notch compared to other campaigns. I give everyone my personal cell phone number. It's on every piece of paper that I print, every sign I print. And that way people know they have a direct line to me. When I'm elected, it's the same thing. You can call or text. I might not be the person to get in touch with, but I'm going to get you in touch with who can address the issue and ensure that that process is started more efficiently for not only the taxpayers, but the people working in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure it doesn't hurt with your background in already in pipeline, and the language, you've most assuredly got some connections, the people, the environment. I mean, it's a whole, we host an event that is strictly for our pipeline terminals and our oil and gas companies, and they come from all over, from several states, around, plus the state of Oklahoma. And so I'm just kind of on the outside, looking in for that brief moment while we put this together. You really need to know what's going on. You got to know the lingo. You got to know there's midstream there, you have to know what's going on, and you got to be able to keep up with it, and being in that industry, I know you probably what I'm talking about, that you got to have those connections as well,
Right. And everyone knows if you talk pipeline, you need to call Oklahoma. You have the crossroads of the world right there in Cushing, and and here in Tulsa, it's basically the pipeline capital. You have a lot of companies that deal with pipeline, and it's a huge industry here in Oklahoma. So knowing how that industry and how the laws apply to it is a big deal. I've worked with not just the workers and myself, but also you have leaders such as Corey Goulet with TransCanada when I was pushing for the Keystone XL, or Kelsey Warren, getting those big names in and sitting down with them and bringing them together to understand how do we all come together to push for these permits to get these jobs going so that we can bring in the investment and the jobs and money. So being able to work together with everybody. I also, coming from the industry, I also have a background, a certified welding inspector, and I'm a specialist in safety and health. So both of those positions are all about reading code and applying it to the job, which is exactly what a regulatory body such as the Corporation Commission is. They read the law and they know how to apply it. So I want to bring that industry experience, and as an outsider, not being caught up in the political realm, I think I can bring a fresh perspective. My hard work and determination is one that I know I can use to get the job done and really knuckle down and get things going better and get the backlog, looked at and addressed.
Absolutely. Just real quickly, let's get to know you a little bit. How about
Yeah.
just you personally? Do you have a family, or tell us about you?
Well, I live alone here in Tulsa. I do have an ex-wife and my daughter. They live in Michigan. So, but my daughter is 8, and we get
Oh,
to
wow.
video chat all the time, and it's something you get used to when traveling for work. You get used to these video calls and making those
Mhm.
connections. But she's wonderful. She really keeps me grounded, and I love that.
Well, great. That's awesome. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about with the Corporation Commission and just you running for this seat?
Well, the first thing I just want to remind people, if you are not registered to vote, you have until the 24th. So 4 days. I
Yes.
know it probably by the time someone sees this, it's going to be the primary day. So probably
Right.
too late. But hey, if anyone sees it before, then the 24th is the last day to get registered to vote to be able to vote in the primary. The primary is June 18th. Make sure that we're looking into the candidates and really doing a deep dive to discover who's going to represent your interests and really push for you and who's out there showing that they're willing to prove it by their actions. Like I said, you get a lot of campaigns out there and candidates that say they're for communication and say they're for transparency, but when you give them a call, right here in Broken Arrow, I have 4 candidates I've reached out to. One had a number that was disconnected. Another one hasn't returned
Oh,
a
wow.
voicemail, and it's frustrating. But
Mhm.
there are some that really prove it, that get out there, meet the people in the community, and want to have that conversation and get engaged. So make sure that you look into that. The last thing I want to point out about my campaign is I'm coming as an outsider from the political side, but I also know that I have personal issues with a lot of the ways that campaign funding goes on, and it's not against anyone in particular. However, uh, when you get into the regulatory body like the Oklahoma Corporation Commission, that's more like a judge. It's not a political side where the partisan issues are a huge deal, but you need to remain able to work in the public interest for everyone. And to do that, I feel personally that taking PAC money and special interest money really can sway a narrative, and I don't want to go down that road. So I am limited in my funds and getting my name out there, but I feel that that's lets people know that when they talk to me, they're getting my words. It's not a narrative that's created by one company, one corporation. So that's another thing to look at when you are looking at candidates is where are they getting the money from, and are they actually going to do what they say they're going to do?
And also, it's been a quiet political year, so it's like, have you seen them out and about? Have you seen them online? Where have you seen them? Have they been coming, getting out and meeting the people? And you actually stopped by our office and we connected in person, and that was just something you did. You were just out knocking doors. And I thought that was pretty cool. And just to wrap it up, Justin, we really appreciate you being here with us today. And like I was stating, we'll be posting this later on today on our social media and on our website and things of that nature to help spread the word about all of the candidates that will be on the primary ticket on June 18th. And we have not heard from the other candidates for the Corporation Commission, but we're hoping to get a hold of them. I'm a little worried now that you say that there's some numbers that are disconnected, but it may not be them. I'm just teasing, but it may not be them that you were discussing. But we will be talking to the other candidates and getting their view as well. And it is so important for everybody to be completely in tune before and educated before they go to the polls. Don't just go and strike, whatever, or eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Right. And it's very easy to get frustrated with the system and feel like you don't have a voice. But everyone has a voice, and we deserve to look into the candidates and make that right choice so that we have the people that are going to work in our best interest. And I appreciate you hitting on that. I'm trying to get out as much as possible with limiting funding. Sometimes it's impossible, and I really regret the people that I don't get to talk to. So yes, if you have any of my information, please share that.
Absolutely.
I'll give it to you right now. It's 918-219-3185. That is my cell phone number. It's been my cell phone number, and when I'm elected, it'll still be my cell phone number. So reach out anytime. I might not answer at night because I turn it off, but the next morning when I get that message, I'm going to call back. So
absolutely. And you have a website. You have the website?
Yes, you can go to hornback.com. That has some of the what we've been talking about now. It also has my email address at the bottom and a number. And one thing you'll notice that kind of separates me from most candidates, you won't find a donate to me button anywhere on the website. I feel like if somebody wants to invest in me, that's wonderful, but I'm all about having a conversation first so you get to know me. And I feel like if you do want to be a part of it, please get online on Facebook, share, tell your friends and family, especially tell them how important the Corporation Commission race is.
It is very important. Well, thank you so much, Justin. We really appreciate your time today. And for those who are watching at home or wherever you're watching, this was pre-recorded on Monday, May 20th. I almost said 20th. May 20th, 2024. And we will be doing our best to interview all of the different candidates and incumbents that will be on the June 18th election. Thanks again, Justin. Y'all have a great day and best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. You have a wonderful one too. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.